Hello and welcome to the 9 p.m. news on Voice of the People TV. I am your host, Jerry Arbilan.
I am Kayla Abraham. First, the headlines. Chinese firm releases one presidential jet.
Court orders for forfeiture of Emefiele $2.4 million Lagos Delta assets.
We own this country together.
Osun shorts steel mill orders over tax evasion.
Anambra commissioner wife kidnapped on their way to Abuja.
At the foreign scene, NDC running mate promise inclusive government with chiefs in key roles.
Daughter of former prime minister elected as country's youngest leader.
And in business, Nigerians to issue $500 million domestic dollar bond.
In sports, Super Falcons maintain 36th position. And now the news in full. We begin the news with Nigerian President Bola Tinubu arriving in Abuja after a 3-day official visit to Equatorial Guinea. The Gulfstream jet carrying the president touched down at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, at about 6:30 p.m. today. The trip was his 22nd foreign trip since taking office about 15 months ago. President Tinubu was received by top government officials, including his Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, among others. While in the Central African country, Tinubu and his Equatorial Guinean counterpart, Teodoro Mbasogo, signed an agreement on the Gulf of Guinea pipeline project, further affirming the partnership for mutual development. In his remarks at the signing ceremony, Tinubu said the new agreement would open up new opportunities for gas exploration and employment, saying the two leaders had discussed issues related to the creation of employment, food security, multilateral relations, and conflict resolution mechanisms on the continent during a private meeting that preceded the signing of the agreement.
Zhongshan Fucheng Industrial Investment Company Limited, the Chinese firm that got a court injunction to ground the 3 presidential jets belonging to the federal government in Europe, has initiated plans to seize other Nigerian assets in the United Kingdom, United States of America, and in 6 other countries. VOPTV News has also gathered that the company had instituted legal proceedings in about 8 jurisdictions globally regarding the dispute. The other countries include Belgium, Canada, France, Singapore, and the British Virgin Islands. This comes as the federal government vowed to protect its foreign assets from predators. This is following reports that the Chinese company got judgment to ground the 3 presidential jets belonging to the federal government. In a statement signed by the special advisor to Governor Dapo Abiodun on media and strategy, Kayode Akimade, the state government described the latest development as the new antics by the Chinese company to appropriate Nigerian assets in foreign jurisdictions as part of efforts had continually failed. It added, by 2019, when the current state administration took office, the hearing and the arbitration had been all but concluded. The arbitral panel awarded over $60 million against the federal government of Nigeria, which was a co-defendant when all Zhongshan had done was to build a perimeter fence around the free trade zone. It called this a bad and unfair decision and said that the present state administration could not in all good conscience allow such an unconscionable and baseless decision, which would dissipate the commonwealth of the good people of Ogun State to stand. Therefore, based on erudite legal advice, the administration resolved to resist the enforcement of the award. As Akimade said, the resistance was successful in 8 different jurisdictions, and there were currently pending appeals against recognition orders issued in both the US and UK.
Meanwhile, Zhongshan Fucheng Industrial Investment Co. Limited, a Chinese firm, released one of the seized Nigeria's presidential jets. You'd all recall that Sunshang, the Chinese firm, had secured a court order to confiscate 3 Nigerian presidential jets, pending when Sunshang receives $74.5 million awarded to it against Nigeria. The spokesperson of the company stated today that the company released the aircraft because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would need it to travel to a scheduled meeting with President Macron of France early next week. In his words, Sunshang remains committed to talks with representatives of the federal government of Nigeria, this time serious and substantive on both sides, with a view to reaching a reasonable compromise settlement rapidly.
Yesterday, the Federal High Court in Lagos ordered the interim forfeiture of $2.04 million and 7 properties connected to former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Justice Akintayo Aluko made the order following an application by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, which is investigating alleged fraudulent activities linked to Emefiele. Justice Aluko said the properties listed in this application are reasonably suspected to have been acquired through proceeds of unlawful activities. The properties in question include prime real estate in Lekki and Ikoyi, Lagos, as well as a large industrial complex under construction in Agbo, Delta State. In addition to the properties, the court also ordered the interim forfeiture of 2 share certificates of Queensdorf Global Fund Limited Trust, a company allegedly linked to Emefiele. Justice Aluko, after granting an interim forfeiture order, directed the EFCC to publish a national newspaper, and they gave 14 days for anyone who has an interest in the funds and the assets to appear in court to show cause why they should not be permanently forfeited to the federal government. The case has been adjourned to September 5, 2024 for further hearing.
A Lagos-based school owner, Pauline Ebuago, and her husband, Daniel Ebuago, have filed an 11 billion naira suit against the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and 6 others before the Lagos State High Court over the alleged demolition of their school's landed property in Ilasan Lekki area of the state. In the suit, Babatunde Ademoyo, the educationalist, claimed that the land was delineated with the governor's consent. Other defendants in the suit are the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, the General Permanent Secretary of the Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, a vested oil company, Sterling Oil, and its affiliate, Chronodexia Investment Nigeria Limited, Milanide Detatoria, Kukarani, and persons unknown. The claimants are asking the court for a declaration that they are the owners of the parcel of land measuring 1,580.565 square meters, and a declaration that the act of forceful entry and demolition of the property by the defendants jointly and severally is unlawful. They also pray the court for the sum of 1 billion naira only as general damages against the defendants jointly and severally for the emotional distress caused by the unlawful demolition of the property. The claimant further asked for the sum of 10 billion naira as special and general damages against the defendants, jointly and severally, for losses incurred by the claimant as a result of illegal trespass and demolition carried out by the defendants.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has reacted to the claim of his Igbo paternity, declaring that such insinuation made him laugh. The disclosure came even as the former president said he doesn't believe anybody in Nigeria should be driven away from any part of the country, declaring that we own this country together. Obasanjo made this known when he received an audience during the leadership of Ndibo Amaka Progressive Market Association, an umbrella body of major markets in Lagos State, held at the boardroom of the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library at Abeokuta, Ogun State. Speaking on the meeting, the former president said the leadership of the group reached out to him to support the establishment of the Owerri Central Market position to be the best of its kind in the country. Obasanjo said he doesn't believe anybody in Nigeria should be driven away from any part of the country, asserting that we own this country together. He said, and I read, having ensured that the Yorubas, Igbos, and Hausas all came together to fight the war of unity in Nigeria and not to fight Igbos to go, but to come. So if anybody says to me that somebody should leave any place, he will be the one to leave. End quote.
A socio-political group, a progressive patriot Afon zone in Imekon Afon local government area of Ogun State, has demanded equal representation and opportunities for the zone, urging Governor Dapo Abiodun to support the zone in producing the next local government chairman. The chairman of the group, B. Ogunriola, made this call at a news conference held yesterday in Abeokuta. Ogunriola explained that the local government is divided into two zones of Imeko Ketu Division and Afon Zone, also called the Isokan Division. He, however, lamented that since the creation of the local government 28 years ago, the people of the Imeko Ketu Division have always been leading the local government while the Afon people played second fiddle. He said that the Afon people are feeling pain by this seemingly awful situation and a clear case of injustice, urging Abiodun to rise to the heartfelt cry of the people and ensure that the next chairman of the local government comes from the Afon zone. Ogunriola stated that Imeko Afon local government remains the collective patrimony belonging to both the Ketu and Isokan divisions, not the Ketu division alone. He added that it is the right of Afon zone to produce the next local government chairman, saying that the zone would no longer accept anything less.
The Ogun State Sector Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Akiwumi Fashakin, has proposed a partnership between the FRC and the Ogun State Internal Revenue Service for what he termed Operation Show Me Your Driver's License. Fashakin disclosed this during a courtesy visit to the Executive Chairman of OGIRS, Olugbenga Olaleye, today. The sector commander commended the leadership of OGIRS for the existing relationship with the Corps. He noted that while the FRSC has been maintaining seamless operations with the OGIRS team, some car owners are without licenses, resulting in low returns on road taxes. Fashakin stated that Operation Show Me Your Driver's License will require drivers to visit OGIRS for the payment of their driver's license and clear the current backlogs of licenses. In response, Olaleye expressed OGIRS willingness to collaborate with the Corps in enforcing policies on road checks for drivers and vehicle licenses, ensuring that vehicle owners pay the appropriate fees to government coffers.
The Osun State government said today that it has shut down Prism Steel Mill Ikiro and some business premises in Ede due to non-compliance and evasion of taxes. A statement by the information officer of Osun State Internal Revenue Service, Sheun Ayeni, obtained in Osogbo said a tax enforcement team led by the ORRS chairman Adeshola Adewumi ordered that the steel company and other affected business premises be sealed. Adewumi also said the affected business premises were nonchalant to the harmonized demand notice sent to them from the Internal Revenue Service. The ORRS chairman explained that the deadline for the payment was given to all businesses operating in the state to pay their bills, expressing dissatisfaction with the refusal to comply. He expressed that Osun State was lucky to have this type of governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke in Osun State, who does not want any business to be sealed, giving grace till 31st of July this year to business owners to do the needful. He urged businesses in the state to rise up to their responsibilities and remit their taxes as and when due.
The National Judicial Council has issued a letter of advice to an Oyo State High Court Judge Justice O.M. Olagunju, urging her to be circumspect as a judicial officer before acting, even in the most challenging situation. Justice Olagunju was said to have used uncouth language in a letter addressed to the outgoing Chief Justice of Nigeria, Olukayode Ariwola, challenging the council's decision and its policy direction on the appointment of the president of the Customary Court of Appeal in Oyo State. The NJC Director of Information, Soji Oye, in a statement today in Abuja, added that the NJC also constituted 4 probe panels to investigate 27 High Court judges over a improve on their performance.
Nigeria's headline inflation rate has decreased to 33.40% in July this year, a decline from 34.19% in June 2024. According to reports from National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), this is the first reduction in 19 months since December 2022, when it last fell to 21.34%. VOP TV's Matthew Ogunswada tells us more in this report.
The National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) has announced that Nigeria's annual inflation rate has eased after nearly 2 years of persistent increases. In July 2024, the inflation rate dropped to 33.40%, down from 34.19% in June, marking a 0.8 percentage point decrease, which makes it the first decline in the headline inflation rate since it fell to 21.34% in December 2022. The report also highlighted that food and non-alcoholic beverages contributed 17.30% to the inflation rate. Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels contributed 5.59%. Clothing and footwear contributed 2.55%, and transport accounted for 2.17%. Following this development, Voice of the People TV took to the streets to gather public opinion on this change.
The inflation has now increased. Before the protest, spaghetti is 900 naira. Now we are getting it to 1,000. A lot of things are increased after the protest, so there's nothing to say that it has reduced. No, it's getting worse. I will advise government, if there's anything they could do for us, forget about the palliative, forget about sharing of money. Let the fuel price, let them reduce the fuel price. Let it come like 100 naira per liter, where everybody will benefit from it.
If you want to talk, don't involve the government, because they are the one killing us. They tell us that everything has come down, nothing even go down. If they want us, if they want everything to go down, let them bring down the fuel price, the fuel pump price. That's where it's affecting us, and we can't be able to maintain our home again. Before, when we leave 2,000 at home, when we get home, we still ask them, what did you cook? But now, if you leave 5,000, if the time say they don't feed 3 kg, that's 3,006. No money again. No. If they want help us, make them.
Matthew Ogunswada, reporting for Voice of the People TV. The National.
That was a report by VOP TV's Matthew Ogunswada on the economic shift in Nigeria. You're still watching the 9 p.m. news in VOP TV. More stories after this break. Stay with us.
Welcome back. The Commissioner for Youth Development in Anambra State, Patrick Agamba, and his wife have been allegedly kidnapped. Details of the incident are still unclear. However, sources say the commissioner's aide, ABK Ofia, was allegedly killed in the process. They are said to be traveling to Abuja to attend the wedding of the daughter of the state governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo Adora, which is set to be held tomorrow, Saturday. A top government source has said the state government will react to the development soon, as no one has really reached out to any of the family members or the state government yet, and they will know exactly what happened when he's released. Meanwhile, the state police spokesman, SP Tochukwu Ikenga, said the command heard about the information and escalated the incident to other state commands for possible action, as the incident did not happen in Anambra.
Meanwhile, gunmen have kidnapped more than 20 medical and dental students along a house officer in Benue State. The students were en route to the Federation of Catholic Medical and Dental Student FECAMENT's annual convention in Enugu when they were ambushed by gunmen. The victims, reportedly from the University of Maiduguri and the University of Jos, were traveling together when the attack occurred around 5:30 p.m. in the Otukpo area of the state. The spokesperson for the Benue State Police Command, SP Catherine Anene, confirmed the incident and stated that an investigation has been launched into the abduction.
The Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State capital, has upheld the election of Professor Anthony Okorie-Ani as the senator representing Ebonyi South Senatorial District in the upper chamber. In a judgment delivered yesterday, the tribunal panel dismissed the petitions filed by the Labour Party candidate, Honorable Linus Abba Okorie, and the People's Democratic Party candidate, Barrister Silas Onu. In a unanimous judgment, the tribunal ruled that the petitioners failed to substantiate their allegations of malpractices and irregularities against the All Progressive Congress candidate and therefore dismissed their petitions for lacking merit. Fielding questions from newsmen after the court session on counsel to Senator Annie, Roy Wednesday Umai's son, noted that the judgment was in line with the law. He commended the tribunal for delivering justice in the matter. The chairman of the All Progressive Congress APC in Ebonyi State, Chief Stanley Okoro Emeka, described the judgment as a victory for the Ebonyi State APC family. He emphatically stated that the people of Ebonyi South Zone did not vote for the PDP and Labour Party candidates during the election. He boasted that the APC has come to stay in Ebonyi State and urged those who wish to win elections in the future to join the winning party and stop wasting time in opposition parties.
Enugu State Governor Peter Mba has directed all churches and mosques in the state to remove the outdoor loudspeakers and install soundproofing measures within their worship centers. This ultimatum, issued yesterday, gives the religious institutions 90 days to comply. The decision was made during a stakeholders' engagement with Christian and Muslim leaders, government officials, and media practitioners. The meeting, organized by the Enugu Capital Territory Development Authority, aimed to address the implementation of the Enugu State anti-noise pollution policy. Governor Mba stressed that noise pollution has become a significant challenge for the state, with over 1,000 petitions received by his office in just 1 year. The affected areas include Independence Layout, GRA, Transekulu, Agbani Road, Agbakpanike, Ugwaji, and Mayor.
The Kwara State Signage and Advertisement Agency, KWASA, has warned against indiscriminate erection of boards and posters in the build-up to the local government elections scheduled for September in the state. The general manager of KWASA, Al-Imam Ismail Asukuti, issued the warning while answering questions in an interview. He urged the political parties to consult the agency before erecting their billboards, reiterating the need for politicians and the general public to desist from placing posters on government structures. A statement by KWASA spokesman Abubakar Owolabi and in Ilorin today warned that the agency will continue to remove unauthorized posters and billboards. Asukuti, who commended Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak for giving the agency a free hand to operate, assured politicians of fairness in the allocation of space to paste their posters and billboards. We'll now go on a quick break now and return with stories from the foreign scene. You stay tuned.
Welcome back. Now, stories in the foreign scene. The running mate of the opposition National Democratic Congress NDC, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ayemang, has pledged that an NDC government will ensure an inclusive administration by involving chiefs in significant roles in Ghana. During a market tour in Accra, Opoku Ayemang emphasized the crucial role of chiefs in development and promised to prioritize their input in national issues. She visited the Malam Atta, Kanishi, and Makola markets to interact with market women and introduce the party's policies on trade and women's issues. Opoku Aimang, accompanied by top party officials and aspiring parliamentary candidates, also paid a courtesy call on the chief of Kanishi, Nikoy Ashale I. The chief praised the visit, noting it was the first time in his 18 years of leadership that a presidential or vice presidential candidate had visited him. The chief highlighted the essential role of women in national development and endorsed the NDC ticket, urging the candidate to fulfill their promises if elected. He also expressed concerns about the diminishing role of chiefs in nation building and called for restoration of their significant contributions.
Violence erupted in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo yesterday as clashes between local rebels and pro-government militias in North Kivu's Rushuru territory resulted in the death of 16 villagers. The confrontation involving the M23 rebel group and local Wazalendo fighters occurred despite a ceasefire intended to aid millions of displaced residents in the region. None of the victims were involved in the fighting, raising concerns about the ceasefire's sustainability in a region plagued by ongoing violence. In a separate development, South Kivu Governor Jean-Jacques Pupirusi Sadiki lifted a month-long suspension on mining activities. The ban, initially imposed to restore order, was revoked following discussions with mining companies who have been instructed to file tax returns and commit to transparency in the sector. The region, rich in minerals, has been seen frequent attacks on mining sites, including a recent assault in Ituri province that claimed the lives of 6 Chinese miners and 2 Congolese soldiers.
Thailand's parliament has elected Petotan Shinawatra, the youngest daughter of the divisive former leader Thaksin Shinawatra, as prime minister today. Petatung becomes Thailand's third leader from the Shinawatra family after her father, who was ousted by coup before returning from exile last year, and her aunt, Yingluck Shinawatra, who lives in exile. Petatung also became Thailand's second female prime minister after her aunt and the country's youngest leader at 37. As a sole nominee, she was confirmed by 319 votes in approval, with 145 voted against her and 27 abstained. Members of parliament spent about an hour casting their votes in public one by one. Petatung is the leader of the ruling Pheu Thai party, but was not an elected lawmaker, which was not required for her to become a candidate for a prime minister. She will officially become prime minister with a royal endorsement through the timing of that step, though the timing of that step wasn't known. Petatung received warm greetings and applause from members of her party before delivering her first speech after the parliament vote at the party's office in Bangkok.
Pakistan's health ministry has confirmed at least one case of the mpox virus in a patient who had returned from a Gulf country today, as provincial health authorities reported they had detected at least 3 cases. The health ministry spokesperson said the sequencing of the confirmed case was underway and that it would not be clear which variant of mpox the patient had until the process was complete. A new form of the virus has triggered global concern because it seems to spread more easily through routine close contact. A case of the new variant was confirmed on Thursday in Sweden and linked to a growing outbreak in Africa, the first sign of its spread outside the continent. However, the World Health Organization has advised against any travel restrictions to stop the spread of mpox. Earlier today, the health department in northern Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province has said 3 cases had been detected in patients on arrival from the United Arab Emirates. It was not clear whether the patient confirmed by the Central Health Ministry was among the 3.
Coming up next is business, entertainment, and sports stories. Stay tuned. Welcome back. In business, the federal government of Nigeria is preparing to issue a $500 million domestic dollar bond on Monday, aiming to raise funds from both local and international investors. This bond, which will be the first of its kind, features bullet repayment in US dollars at maturity after 5 years. The bond will be listed on the Nigerian Exchange and FMDQ, offering interest payment every 6 months. The proceeds are intended to be invested in critical sectors to stimulate economic growth. Finance Minister Wale Edun highlighted that the bond represents a strategic move to enhance financial stability and attract significant investment in Nigeria's economy.
Nigerian businesses are facing continued labor market challenges, as highlighted in the Central Bank of Nigeria's CBN latest Purchasing Managers Index PMI report for July 2024. The Composite Employment Index recorded 48.7 points, indicating a contraction for the 7th consecutive month, though it showed a slight improvement from June's 48.3 points. The report reveals that 18 subsectors, particularly the printing and related support activities, experienced a decline in employment, while the petroleum and coal product subsectors saw the highest increase in employment levels. This trend underscores the need for targeted economic policies to stimulate job creation and support struggling industries.
The Lagos State government has begun demolition illegal structures along the System 157 drainage path and Orchard Road channels in Etiosa, after property owners failed to adhere to an early agreement to reduce the impact on these critical drainage channels. The demolition, led by the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, is part of ongoing efforts to mitigate flooding in the area. Despite extended negotiations, property owners did not comply with the agreed redesign plans, prompting the government to take action. Similar enforcement efforts have occurred across Lagos, including the recent demolition of structures in Mende Villa Estate, Maryland.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has reported that recent floods across Nigeria have destroyed 16,488 hectares of farmland and affected over 227,000 people in 27 states. The disaster has damaged over 32,000 houses, displacing thousands and further exacerbating the country's food insecurity crisis. NEMA has begun deploying relief materials to the affected communities and is urging residents in flood-prone areas to relocate to higher ground. The agency also advises farmers not to panic over the temporary dry season affecting some regions, reassuring that the situation will improve as predicted in seasonal climate forecasts.
In entertainment, Nigerian rapper Michael Ugochukwu Stevens, widely known as Rugged Man, recently revealed his reasons for distancing himself from the controversial self-proclaimed activist Very Dark Man. During a recent episode of a podcast, Rugged Man explained that his support for Very Dark Man waned when the activist began delving into people's personal lives. He expressed concern that Very Dark Man's methods had become less logical and more intrusive. The rapper compared Very Dark Man's approach to that of a police officer resorting to extreme measures prematurely, suggesting that as a professional, there are more appropriate ways to handle such situations.
Nollywood actress Lizzie Anjorin has said that it is impossible for someone of her caliber to steal gold worth 91,000 naira. The thespian Anjorin was accused of stealing a gram of gold worth 91,000 naira at Idumota Market in Lagos. However, speaking during an appearance in a podcast, the actress stated that the value of the alleged gold could be compared to a grain of rice. She dismissed the case, adding that someone of her caliber who deals in heavy gold and other fashion accessories worth millions, could not stoop so low as to steal gold worth 91,000 naira.
Popular American rapper and music producer Justin Riley, widely known as Bit King, is dead. Bit King died yesterday at the age of 39. The late Houston singer leaves behind 2 daughters and his partner, Ptolemacia.
Popular Nigerian businessman and socialite Obinna Oyegbu, aka Obi Kubana, has disclosed that nobody in his family attains the age of 80. Obi Kubana said his late mother tried to break the generational genes but could not because she died at the age of 79. Speaking in an interview, Obi Kubana said his family decided to throw a lavish funeral ceremony for their mother because she could not break the generational genes.
In sport, after failing to win a match in the just concluded Paris Olympics Games in France, Super Falcons of Nigeria has remained unmoved in the latest FIFA rankings. The 9-time African champion suffered defeats to Brazil, Spain, and Japan and finished bottom of the group. According to the rankings released today, Super Falcons remained stagnant on the 36th position but maintained its position as the continent's best ranked team. The Falcons were able to garner 1,621.29 points in the last 3 months. The current champions of the continent, Banyana Banyana of South Africa, remained second in Africa.
Willian, a 36-year-old Brazilian player, is leaving Fulham after a 2-year stint. He had extended his contract for another year last year, but it has now expired. During his time at Fulham, Willian made 58 Premier League appearances, scoring 9 goals, including a notable goal against his former club Chelsea in January 2023. Reports suggest that Willian may be headed to Saudi Arabia next. In an Instagram post, Willian expressed his gratitude to Fulham, calling his time at the club wonderful and special. Fulham will begin their Premier League campaign against Manchester United, but Willian will not be part of the team.
Before we wrap up the news, here's a recap of the headlines we read earlier. Chinese firm releases 1 presidential jet.
Court orders for feature of Emefiele $2.4 million Lagos Delta assets.
We own this country together, Obasanjo says.
Osun short steel mill orders over tax evasion.
Anambra Commissioner wife kidnapped on their way to Abuja.
On the foreign scene, NDC running mate promise inclusive government with chiefs in key roles.
Daughter of former Prime Minister elected as country's youngest leader.
And in business, Nigeria to issue $500 million domestic dollar bond.
In sport, Super Falcons maintain 36th position.
And that's a wrap on the 9 p.m. news on Voice of the People TV. Many thanks for watching. I am Jerry Apiran.
And I am Kayla Abraham. Good evening.